Some buildings are made to stand on solid ground. These were built where the ground disappears. Across the world, people have carved temples into cliffs, suspended hotels over empty valleys, built homes in treetops, and anchored monasteries to rock faces where one wrong step could mean falling into the abyss. Some were built for faith, some for survival, some for science, and some feel like pure madness. Today we're counting down the top 9 most dangerous hanging structures on Earth. Stay until number 1, because the final structure has been hanging from a cliff for more than 1,500 years, and its real support system is almost invisible. Before we begin, tell us in the comments which scares you more: a cliffside temple, a glass capsule hotel, or a monastery hanging over a valley. Number 9. Skylodge Adventure Suites, Peru. Imagine checking into a hotel room where the floor below you is not a lobby, not a street, not even a mountain trail, but open air. High above Peru's sacred valley, transparent sleeping pods cling to a vertical cliff face like tiny capsules stuck to the mountain. From a distance, they look almost unreal, as if someone trapped pieces of glass against the rock. Inside, there are beds, lights, a dining area, and windows on almost every side. But the most intense part is not the view from the bed. It is the realization that the entire room is bolted to a cliff roughly 1,300 feet above the valley floor. To reach the pods, guests must climb a via ferrata route or descend by rope. There is no normal hallway, no elevator, no front desk waiting at ground level. Skylodge is an extreme cliffside hotel designed for travelers who want more than a view. One of the strangest details is the restroom. Guests can look through the transparent walls and see empty space below. Even something as ordinary as standing up in the middle of the night becomes a reminder that you are sleeping on the side of a mountain. For some, Skylodge is a once-in-a-lifetime adventure. For others, it is a nightmare with a mattress. But its popularity proves something strange about humans. We do not only seek safety. Sometimes, we pay to feel how close danger can be. But Skylodge was built for thrill seekers. The next structure was built for people who live high above the forest floor because survival itself depends on height. From Peru, we travel to the rainforests of Papua. Number 8. Korowai treehouses, Papua. Most people think of a home as shelter from danger. For the Korowai, danger begins on the ground. Deep in the rainforest of Papua, wooden houses stand high in the trees, sometimes more than 160 feet above the forest floor. Built from local wood, rattan, and palm leaves, they appear almost weightless against the canopy. Narrow-notched trunks act as ladders. There are no modern staircases, no railings, no safety nets. These tree houses are built high for practical reasons. Height can help protect people from floods, insects, animals, and dangers found on the ground. In a dense rainforest, elevation can mean safety. But that safety comes with its own risk. Every trip for food, water, tools, or daily movement means climbing up and down narrow wooden access points. In rain, wind, and humidity, the natural materials are constantly tested. The most shocking part is how normal this height can become for the people who live there. What feels extreme to outsiders is daily life to those who grew up in the forest. Children, adults, and supplies all move through a vertical world where one careless step has serious consequences. The Korowai treehouses show how architecture can come directly from environment. These are not luxury structures. They are not tourist stunts. They are homes shaped by the rainforest, by tradition, and by survival. But the Korowai built upward into living trees. The next structure was carved into a cliff face so high that ancient craftsmen had to build a wooden world in the air before they could create it. From Papua's treetop homes, we travel to China, where a cliff became a giant honeycomb of caves, statues, and impossible walkways. Number 7. Maijishan Grottoes, China. Some temples are built on mountains. Maijishan was carved into the side of one. In China, Maijishan rises like a steep stone hill punctured by cave openings. Inside those caves are ancient Buddhist sculptures, painted figures, and sacred spaces that seem to float between earth and sky. Maijishan is a network of nearly 200 caves carved into a vertical cliff face. Ancient craftsmen built complex scaffolding to reach the rock. They created statues using wooden supports, clay, straw, and detailed craftsmanship. This was not simple carving from solid stone. It was a massive artistic and engineering effort built into dangerous terrain. Today, visitors still walk along elevated paths to enter this historical maze. One of the most astonishing details is that the mountain was severely damaged by an earthquake in 734, splitting parts of it apart. Yet many caves and statues near the fractured areas survived. Some of these structures have remained attached to the cliff for around 1,600 years. Maijishan matters because it shows devotion, turning fear into architecture. The people who built it were not just creating art. They were building sacred spaces in a location where every beam, step, and statue demanded risk. Today, visitors still walk along elevated paths to enter this historical maze. But Maijishan is a cliff full of sacred caves. The next structure is a tiny temple standing on a mountain peak so narrow it looks like it was placed on the tip of a blade. From a honeycomb of caves, we move to Shanxi, China, where a temple rises above the clouds on a summit barely large enough to hold it. This is not a temple on a mountain. It is a temple balanced on the last piece of mountain left. At more than 5,400 feet above sea level, Taishan Mountain Tower Temple stands on a tiny summit surrounded by empty air. Clouds move around the peak. Stone steps climb toward the shrine. The structure appears small, fragile, and strangely fearless. From certain angles, the entire temple looks like it has been set on the point of a rock, with 3 sides dropping into open space. The temple is a Taoist pilgrimage site, built in a location that turns spiritual devotion into a physical challenge. To reach it, visitors must climb steep, narrow stone steps along the mountain. The danger is not in size, it is in exposure. The temple's surface area is extremely small, making it feel less like a building and more like a symbol placed against the sky. It is one of those places where the architecture is simple, but the location makes it unforgettable. For pilgrims, the difficult climb is part of the meaning. The journey forces the body to feel what the mind is seeking: discipline, faith, and surrender to something larger than comfort. For visitors afraid of heights, the final steps may feel less like tourism and more like a test. But Taishan Mountain Tower Temple stands on a peak. The next structure hides inside a remote gorge, where an entire monastery is attached to a cliff above a river. From a temple above the clouds, we travel to Ladakh, India, where isolation and altitude protect one of the most dramatic cliffside monasteries on Earth. Hidden in a remote gorge, Phugtal Monastery looks less like it was built on a cliff and more like it grew out of one. In the Zanskar region of Ladakh, white and earthen buildings cling to the entrance of a natural cave. Below, a river cuts through the gorge. Around it, dry mountains rise in harsh, silent layers. The monastery seems suspended between stone and sky, pressed directly into the cliff face more than 12,000 feet above sea level. Phugtal Monastery was built in the 14th century using stone, sun-baked mud bricks, and wood anchored into the rock. Its position made it isolated, protected, and deeply spiritual. Even today, it is not reached by normal roads. Access depends on narrow footpaths along the cliffside, making the journey part of the experience. The monastery sits at the entrance of a natural cave, and the cliff itself becomes part of the structure. It is not just a building attached to stone. It is architecture using the mountain as a wall, a shelter, and a foundation. For monks, Phugtal is a place of prayer, study, and isolation. Its danger is not theatrical, it is quiet, constant, and woven into daily life. Supplies, movement, weather, and access all depend on the landscape. It reminds us that some spiritual places were never meant to be easy to reach. But Phugtal hides inside the mountains. The next structure demands something even more extreme, climbing barefoot up a cliff to reach a church carved into the rock. From the remote gorges of Ladakh, we move to Ethiopia, where faith requires a climb that most visitors never forget. Number 4. Abuna, Yemata, Ethiopia. This church does not ask you to simply enter, it asks you to climb for it. High in the cliffs of Ethiopia's Tigray region, Abuna Yemata is carved into the rock like a secret held above the world. To reach it, visitors climb dry stone slopes, narrow ledges, and exposed rock faces. At one point, pilgrims remove their shoes and continue barefoot. The path narrows. The cliff drops away. The final approach feels like faith balanced on a ledge. Abuna Yemata is one of the most dramatic rock-hewn churches in the world. Its position high on the cliff provided isolation and protection, but it also made access extremely dangerous. After that terrifying approach, visitors enter a church filled with ancient frescoes whose colors remain vivid in the dry, high-altitude air. The contrast is shocking. Outside, fear; inside, beauty. Every Sunday, worshippers still climb to this church as part of their faith. For them, the danger is not a tourist thrill. It is part of a sacred journey. Abuna Yemata proves that belief can make people cross spaces that fear would normally forbid. But Ethiopia's cliff church is reached by courage. The next structure is reached by a long climb to one of the most famous monasteries on earth, hanging above a valley like a legend. From Ethiopia's sacred cliff, we travel to Bhutan, where a monastery clings to a mountainside nearly 3,000 feet above the valley. Number 3. Paro Taktsang, Bhutan. Paro Taktsang is so perfectly placed on the cliff that it feels less built than summoned. Known as the Tiger's Nest Monastery, Paro Taktsang clings to a vertical cliff high above Bhutan's Paro Valley. White walls, golden roofs, wooden balconies, and prayer flags stand against dark rock and mountain air. Below it, the valley drops away. Around it, mist moves through forest and stone. From a distance, the monastery looks impossible, as if it is floating on the cliff face. The complex is anchored into natural ledges and cracks in the rock. It is a major sacred site in Bhutanese Buddhism and one of the country's most iconic landmarks. But its beauty hides serious practical danger. The access path is steep, exposed in places, and difficult for anyone unprepared. The buildings themselves are not on broad, flat ground. They are attached to a cliff that makes every repair, rescue, and reconstruction harder. In 1998, a major fire destroyed much of the complex. Because the monastery is so difficult to access, firefighting was extremely challenging. Afterward, the people of Bhutan carried materials up the mountain and rebuilt the monastery. That fact gives the place another layer of power. It is not only difficult to build, it is difficult to save. Paro Taktsang is one of the clearest examples on Earth of human belief anchored directly into a cliff. But Paro Taktsang is a monastery attached to a cliff. The next one stands on top of a stone pillar so isolated that for centuries access depended on ropes, nets, and human nerve. Number 2. Holy Trinity Monastery, Meteora, Greece. Some monasteries are remote. Holy Trinity looks almost unreachable. In Meteora, Greece, massive sandstone pillars rise from the landscape like towers from another world. On top of one sharp pillar stands the Holy Trinity Monastery, perched near the edge of a narrow summit about 1,300 feet high. From below, it looks like a stone island floating above the earth. The cliffs drop steeply on every side, and the monastery appears to have been placed where ordinary construction should have ended. Holy Trinity was built in the 15th century by monks who hauled stones, wood, and supplies up the cliff using primitive systems. Its position offered isolation, protection, and spiritual separation from the world below. But building there required extreme patience and danger. For centuries, access to Meteora monasteries often involved nets, ropes, and pulley systems. People and supplies could be lifted upward, leaving human lives dependent on the strength of the rope and the skill of those pulling it. Holy Trinity represents the extreme side of monastic life, withdrawal from the world made physical. For the people who built it, it was a lifelong act of faith. But Holy Trinity stands above the world. Number 1 is even stranger. A wooden temple that has been suspended from a cliff for more than 1,500 years. For number 1, we return to China, where an ancient temple appears to hang from a vertical rock wall and defy gravity itself. Number 1 is the Hanging Temple of Mount Heng. From a distance, the temple looks impossible. Wooden halls, narrow corridors, small rooms, and delicate balconies cling to a vertical cliff face. Thin wooden columns appear to support the building from below, making the entire structure look fragile, almost temporary. Behind it, the rock wall rises straight upward. Beneath it, the ground drops away. The temple seems caught between mountain and air. When visitors walk through the narrow wooden passageways, the cliff is on one side and open space is on the other. Every step feels like moving through a building that should have fallen centuries ago. The Hanging Temple's design is not just beautiful, it is strategic. The temple sits beneath an overhanging rock, which helps protect it from rain, snow, and falling stones. But the real genius is the support system. At first glance, people think the thin wooden columns are holding everything up. In reality, the true load-bearing strength comes from wooden beams inserted deep into the rock itself. The mountain is the foundation. The builders turned the cliff into the structure. The most shocking detail is that the temple has survived for more than 1,500 years against wind, weather, and time. With 40 rooms connected by narrow corridors, the entire complex feels like a puzzle of wood, stone, faith, and balance. It survived because it was placed with terrifying intelligence. The Hanging Temple matters because it proves ancient engineering was not primitive. It was precise. It also has deep cultural importance, blending religious traditions in one suspended complex, making it a symbol of spiritual coexistence. Many hanging structures are dangerous because they feel reckless. This one is dangerous because it feels too delicate until you realize how brilliantly it was designed. It looks fragile, but it has endured for centuries. It looks unsupported, but the mountain is holding it from within. It looks like it should fall, but generation after generation has watched it remain. That is what makes it unforgettable. Not just the height, not just the fear, but the feeling that ancient builders found a way to make wood, stone, and belief hang in the air. The most dangerous hanging structures on Earth are not just buildings. They are proof that humans have never been satisfied with safe ground. We have built homes in trees, hotels on cliffs, monasteries above valleys, churches in rock walls, and temples suspended between mountain and sky. Some were built for survival, some for faith, some for isolation, some for wonder. But every one of them asks the same question: how far will humans go to live, pray, sleep, and build where gravity says they should not? Which structure shocked you the most? Would you sleep in the Skylodge pods, climb to Abuna Yemata, visit Paro Taktsang, or walk inside the Hanging Temple of Mount Heng? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe for more. In the next video, we'll explore the most terrifying cliffside roads ever built.